big mila that we're map the Amakif that's higher that then can come down and take it. In the beginning of the Maimer, he brings the pasuk he David the Dachabiyayin. The Razal say Arevim Alai Dibrei Seifim Yais Miyayin Shaltera. That's sweeter. The things that the Chacham were misakin is sweeter than the wine of Torah.
Where's this pasuk from?
It's in Shir. So we have to understand that some Indian why it to be safe from more chav than Yain Shal Torah. And right, I'm just saying the kitzur first. What's Lashon Arebim Alai and not Arebim Li? So to understand that, the Alter Rebbe's Magdim he explains two sugim in Abbas Hashem. The Abba it says La Abbas Hashem Al Kecha Kiyu Chayev. And there's a reason for the Abba. Since the Abish is the Makar Chaim, the Makar Tainugim, Mela the person is nimshach after that Abba, just like he likes his life. He loves the Abish because the Abish gives him life. Higher than that is the Abba B'chol Meitcha, which brings a person to Mesiras Nefesh. That's an Abba. It doesn't have any reason behind it. The person loves the Abish, which comes from the Etzem and Nefesh. And in there's a Aretz Ein Seif, which is higher than being a Makar for Chaim.
Come over here.
That Abba, which is hidden by every single year, in order to arouse it and bring it out, we need Yayin. What is Yayin? Yayin brings out the hidden Seif. Nichnas Yayin Yatsa Seif. And the Yayin, what's the Yayin? The Yayin is Shal Torah. That's the Kiyama Torah Mitzvah. That brings out the Kiyama Torah Mitzvah, brings out that hidden Abba, which is the Abba of Mesiras Nefesh. Also, Shabbos brings out that Abba, which is hidden in Begoli. And this has to do with the of Shabbos. But what's the in that Abish said Shabbos Vayinafish from Malacha? But the Bria was with the Abish that made the Bria Asar Maimaris, which are against the Asar Spirits. And when the Abish that made the Bria, the Asar Spirit came to Alamata to create the world. Just like the Keichas come down in order for a person to do a certain thing. A mashal. If a person does a malacha, he writes or he makes a picture, his Seichel, Machshava are come down into Apola. And when he finishes the malacha, his Keichas go back to the Makar. Same thing Shabbos. The spirits all Yenish which came down the Mata a whole week, they go back to their Makar. That they were one with Ein Seif, which is higher than Chol. Therefore, Shabbos is the scholar that hidden Abba, which is higher than any Tam and Keich Nafshi, and that's the Inya of Yena Shal Torah, to the Kima Mitzvahs. So what's the mile of the mitzvahs? The Yena Shal Torah. The Yena Shal Torah is Megala, the hidden which is in the Nefesh. But Divrei Seifrim is higher than that. Divrei Seifrim is on the bracha of the mitzvah. And the Razal were masakin the bracha, even though the mitzvahs themselves are mamshich the pnimi, which comes into a kelim. The bracha is a mamshich the makif, that's higher than the kelim. Therefore it says, Arevim lai Divrei Seifrim, Allah is merames on the E of makif. And that's when we say the bracha, we say, and Sima Maimei explains why the Chacham called Seifrim, and the Torah is called the Sefer, and higher than that of Sefer, with one writes the Sefer, therefore Chacham called Seifrim, because they are mafchach the Aretz are higher than Torah. All right, we're starting the Maimei.
We're starting the Maimei.
Reba, like the Seifrim, the Havim, Maimei Razal, we have to understand the Maimei Razal al Pasik. That the words of the Chachamim are sweeter than the wine of Torah. And the Eibishter said in front of the Eibishter, that the Yidden say to the Eibishter, that the Yidden are saying to the Eibishter that the words that the Chacham say are sweeter than the Iker Torah, the Torah Shebeksav.
Very bold statement.
Yeah. Yes, Lahavin. That's what Razal say. Yes, Lahavin. Lashon alai. V'avla the Meimeli. Let's say a lie. The Yin should have said to us it's sweeter. What are you saying a lie? He makes it says La'avas Hashem l'kacha ki uchayecha. You have to you love Hashem because He's your life force. Perish ki uchayecha. I know the sin is top. giving a reason why should you love the Eibishter, because he gives you your life force. Today, like it's known, the key mishavish barber l'shenis, the kind mishavish losh in the heart. Here it's because shuhu nesinas tam la'avas Hashem alekacha meneishu chayacha. But the pasuk is explaining why should you love the Eibishter, because he's your chayis, because we misbeinen in that fact that the Eibishter gives you chayis. That's great, and the person he should come to Abba because the Eibishter gives him chayis. Shamaitzo Elyon Baruch Hu Makar Chaim and Makar Tenogim. The Eibush is the Makar of Chaim and the Makar of all the pleasures which cause it. Ki Imcha Mikar Chaim Agamer Imcha Hakel from the Eibush. Everything comes to Shemiman and then Shachu Kol Chaim. But Tenogim and him saying by Arba Ilmis Abiyah. So he said, why do you have to love the Eibush? Because he's the Makar of the Chaim. He's the Makar of the Tenogim. Just like a person loves his life. He loves it. Therefore, he should love the Eibishter. If he thinks into that, where does his life and where does all his tanukim come from the Eibishter? So therefore, it develops in him Ava to the Eibishter. Just like a person loves his life. Therefore, he's going to love the Eibishter. Because the Eibishter gives him the life. So it's like a person, he feels himself that the Ikar Chai Nefesh, therefore he likes his Nefesh. He wants that what? He doesn't love his body. He loves the fact that he's alive. Same thing. So when he thinks into that, when he thinks into the fact, he loves the fact that he's alive. So where does his life come from? It comes from the Eibishter. Therefore, he develops an Ava towards the Eibishter. But this Ava, which comes from the reason, because the Eibishter is your life force, and is nefesh. But that's not an Ava of Mesiras Nefesh, which says in the pasuk, "B'chol nafshecha, b'chol meidecha, nachshem neshachem and atam ki uchayacha." So this Ava, because the Eibishter is your life force, even though it's very great, but it's not on the level of Mesiras Nefesh. Why? Because if they want to take away, if they would want to take away your life force, your life, in order for Mesiras Nefesh, a person wants to live, so that is not going to cause him to do Mesiras Nefesh, because this Ava is based on a reason. Yeah, so that's not the Inyan. And b'chol me'edcha, the Gemara dash b'chol nafshecha, feel neitas nafshecha. So when a person is based in nefesh, now he wants to be totally connected with the Eibishter. Since the Eibishter is higher than the of Chachma, so when he's based in nefesh, it has to be not because of a reason. It has to be higher than the reason.
For a reason he wants to live.
Yeah. If the reason is mitzad of Tama Chachma, even though Chachma Kedusha, it's not the total Mesiras Nefesh. Total Mesiras Nefesh is he gives himself over to something which is higher than his own Chachma. He gives himself over to the Eibishter is higher than Chachma. So to have true Mesiras Nefesh, even not Mesiras Nefesh to be killed, but the Etzem Inyan Mesiras Nefesh that he's doing the Eibishter's Ratzin, the highest level is where he's doing the Eibishter's Ratzin because it's the Eibishter's Ratzin, not because he understands. It's not because of his understanding, but because when it comes to his own understanding, he can, if he understands differently, maybe he'll do differently. So it has to be because of the Eibishter's Ratzin. So in order to have true Mesiras Nefesh, he has to give himself over to such a level which is higher than his own understanding. The Shabbachinas, time in the Kodem Tagam is time in Bechachma. The Sheish of Tam is already in El Matzilis. The ACS, we have 4 different prati. We have the Gofa ACS, we have the Tagam on the ACS, we have the Kodev, and we have the time Amikra in the ACS. So the time in the Kodem Tagam ACS, time is Chachma, and the Kodev is Bina, Tagam is Tferes, and the ACS themselves are Malchus. So then the time is Shaykh to the E of Chachma, which which is already the beginning of the Natsal. Avla Maitzel, but the Abish himself ain't say Baruch. Rum and Beniska Af, we get their Chachma, the Abish much higher than Chachma. Because pull the Chachma, he said that Chachma alone is all you can say like a Siyagashbi. Therefore, from there comes the Mesiris Nefesh Shesh B'Keich B'Chol Echad V'Echad Yisrael. Machal Shemalov B'Shbinish Masay Ha'arim B'Tin Saint Seif Baruch Hu Shalom B'Nachach Tam Limsa Nafshe B'Echad. That every single person has this spark in his soul, that he has the power to be Mesa Nefesh, which is higher than his Tam. It comes from the fact that the Ein Seif, which is higher than Chachma, is felt in his Nefesh, that spark in his Nefesh of every Yid. And that Hergish that he has, every Yid has a spark of Mesiris Nefesh in his soul, that brings about the Mesiris Nefesh, to be Mesa Nefesh, totally to the it's a total inya of Abba without any reason. If it's Kiyuch Hayacha, so then that's Abba Pshuta, which this is Abba Pshuta, which is higher than any type of reason. Just because the Eibishter, he's part of the Eibishter. He feels in his nefesh this spark of the Eibishter, which gives him this koyach. Which cause of ani abaylo shenisi chola ben kedin shevelo ben achar shevelo Eibush, and if his palace cloud, the Eibush is higher than all the elements, and it says in the pasuk ani abaylo shenisi Eibush doesn't change. And all the, if you look in the bris elements, that causes a shinnig. If a person's Isaac in a certain thing, so he's totally involved in that thing. If a person's making a keli, at the time when he's making that keli, he can't do other things. So therefore, when he's doing a certain thing, that causes effect on that person. They can't do anything else. And also, it's not the same before he started and after he started. But the Eibishter, since all the Elamites are Eibishter, so therefore they don't have any chivas and they don't have any effect on the Eibishter. Because he's not nitvis. That's the true Abba to the Eibishter, Abba which is higher than any reason, higher than the whole Indian of coming down, being the Slavish in the world. And that's the Indian. This Abba is such a chukka that we have that the person wants to go higher. So when you talk about the Abba which comes beside the Eibishter is his chayes, so therefore, what does the person want? He wants to live. He wants to live, but he wants to live in a true way. He wants to live like a Yid. But when it comes to the Mesiris Nefesh, the Abba, it's higher than Tamadas. His life is, this is a higher than his whole thing of life. And what's this thing of Abba Mesiris Nefesh? He doesn't want to become separated from the Eibishter. Tad the Abba Kyuchayecha, there he wants to live in this world. But he wants the Elikus, he wants to feel Elikus in this world. But over here, when we're saying that the Abba Mesiris Nefesh, he wants to become one with Elikus. He wants to go out of all the physical limitations. And he wants to, and he doesn't want to be a separate Indian by himself. Okay, you can be a separate Indian by yourself, and you can enjoy godliness. Yeah, enjoy shmaka in your Torah, enjoy your mitzvah, but that's you enjoying it. And then there's the other Abba that you just want to be connected with Eibishter. That's the Abba's called Limsa Nefesh Bechad, because his Macy gives over his total Nefesh to Echad. He wants a bottle again. V'hainu inyin b'chol nafshecha b'chol meidcha. Limsa nafshe mamish ma'il min hatam b'das. And that Abba said b'chol nafshecha b'chol meidcha, because that's the inyan Mesiris Nefesh. When he's Mason Nefesh, he wants to be Echa B'Echad, one with Eibishter. Who is Kashus for Moshe Vatzmatzis Baruch? Shamayel Baruch in his time in the Kudin Tagamasi is Kanal, and therefore that's higher than all the Madregas of Tanakh. That Abba is in every single Yid, has this in his neshama, this potential of this Abba. And why is that? Because in everyone's neshama there is ha'ara of Ein Seif Baruch Hu, which is higher than its seichel. And since he has that in his neshama, he has the potential to be connected to the Eibishter, to be one. It's not in seichel. It's higher than seichel. It's deep in the neshama of every single yid, and not in his keches like William. And sometimes when it comes to a test or something, it'll come out begoli. Today, lithium elmel gilo yoidei v'chinis yainu shel daf. And how do we bring it out? K'mayim razal dichnis ayat to say. Say got the nefshi. What? How are we going to bring it out? Through the wine, just like wine brings out the hidden secrets in a person. Same thing, the yain shel brings out this spark that's in the person, the neshama of gold. That Abba, which is called Seid, through the person he brings into his life, the Torah mitzvahs, that brings out this hidden love. I'll explain later. That Abba, in order for it to come out begoli in the heart of Knesset Yisrael, that it should be inflamed. With the Abba Pshuta to be one with a doing the mitzvahs, like the many times the people said, I understand. They ever just said, do the mitzvah, take one mitzvah, do that mitzvah, and automatically. I was reading. Actually, Green put out this book, Professor Green. So so he asked them all these shilas, and they ever didn't answer him. They ever told them, put out tefillin, start doing the mitzvahs, and it'll come from there. So the mitzvahs, I would say the mitzvahs themselves, they bring out that hidden Abba which is in every person. Shabbos miskala gam kevachinas ahava mises b'chiz gili. Shabbos also we reveal this Abba. Why is Shabbos the type to bring out this Abba? In Exif, Sheish Hashem Asa Hashem Tishmain V'Emet Shvi Shabbos. It says what's in Shabbos that a person they adjusted the Eibishter. He rested from the Malachas of Bria Sa'ilam. We have to understand what's the Indian that the Eibishter rested. We have to understand what it says in Parshas Shemos. How is it possible to say that on the Eibishter does the work, and the Eibishter does it? By Maris, Shemes is first Nevra'elam. What's it that they created the world with Asar by Maris? Reishis is also Maimer, the Hainu Shugam, but Chachma Gatzilis. Reishis Atzilis, who Gam Kebechinis Maimer, Laban, the Gabi Mohos Gatzutis, but then you call the Chachma Sisu. Say the Abish created the world with Asar by Maris, and Reishis was the first Asar by Maris. And Asar by Maris, that's Keneged, that's the Spheres. So therefore, we say Bereshis, which is the first Maimer, is connected to Spheres HaChachma. Reishis Atzilis. We say even Reishis Atzilis, that's a Maimer Gabi the Eibishter. Just like the Dibber Amir Ba'adim, that's a chitzonistic thing by a person. The Gabi is nefesh. Same thing by the Eibishter. Spheres HaChachma is considered a chitzonistic thing. The Gabi the Eibishter. We say Kol Mechachma Sitza, even the Bechin of Chachma is also considered like Asiya Gashmis, the Gabi Eibishter. So even the highest level, he said, Sheish, as you may Bereshis, Nishba, Chachma, Midas Hayed, Shem Asar, Maimar, Sibrelem. What does it mean during the Sheish, you may Bereshis, the spheres which were higher than the worlds, and they were connected, they ain't safe, and that in order for them to create the world, it was the Yerida for them to come down. They went down from the Madega Atzmis to the Madega of the Elam to create them. Derech Mashal, other may say it's a Malach. It's here. When a person writes or he makes a picture, the line base it's here. He has to lower this safely, he has to involve himself in writing that letter or in making that picture. And that's you read it from his etzem seichel as machshava to be basic in that Indian. Shugam and machshavte chayz and machshavte mitzvah. When he finishes writing the thing, the seichel goes back to the way it was before. Kach al derech mashal ma'ila v'teishus mei b'reishus nish belua as the spirit el yenes b'rias el ma'yidei. The same thing during the sheish mei b'reishus as the spirit came down. Shabbos v'yinofesh. The Chachma and the Midas went back to the Mahosir, but supposed to have the Eibishter which is higher than the Kinnis Ein the Mocha Tanug. Just like after when a person finishes all being Isaac in his Malacha, he goes to rest, his keiches go back. Same thing when the Abish after he finishes all the keiches went back to the Mocha. So on Shabbos, all the spirits go back to their Madrega, the Mocha Tanuk. L'chaim l'kal b'shabbos l'chinas Avos l'seteres she'im l'chinas zu ma'al l'chinas chochma l'chinas time and there from Shabbos it's revealed that Ava from the Mochaten. Yeah, how it came down, which comes down into Chochma. But when Shabbos it's called the dagger of the Mochaten, which is high the Chochma. That Ava which comes from that's an Ava Pshuta. The Eibishter only because he's the Eibishter because you're part of it. That's higher than all the Eilers. And how does this come out? This galus of the Abba, because first, in order for the person, he has to first have a chana. What's that? Calls the by nation nechnas v'nefesh kol b'chinas yayin shal teira. What's that? Sheikim ateirar mitzvos. Shebehem melubish in the teirar mitzvos and melubish the ratzon al yid. Shalomad l'chitz chachma kaneda. In the teirar mitzvos is the ratzon. Why are you doing the mitzvos? Only because that's the ratzon of the Eibishter. Like they gili ratzon al yid. Say ratzon gili avu mistaris. When that ratzon al yid is revealed in the person, that causes that the hidden Ava should be revealed in the person. Since he's doing the mitzvahs who come also because they just said, and that's ma'ated by the person, the Ratzon Ava Hashem, which was higher than Chachma Tam. That we need nichnas. Yeah, to say. And that's the Seid is the Ava Masteres. And when the person brings in the Yain Shaltera, which is the Kima Tera mitzvahs, the Seid comes out, the Ava, which is the Helen, comes out.
So Ava that's not through the Dada is the strongest Ava.
Yeah.
Which is
Ava, which is higher than Seichel.
Higher than Seichel. Yeah. Not because Chayacha, not because higher than that.
Because you're a part of the Eibishter. The Eibishter has
He says love comes from Abba comes from giving.
Giving, yeah, but there's Abba because it's a party, like a son. A son is a part of his father. It's the etzem. I didn't say it. No, it's a Abba. Okay, that's already bringing out a Abba. That's already a Abba, which you're bringing. It's bringing it out through something. But we're talking here Abba, which is be'etzem. This is an Abba, which is be'etzem. It's higher than. It's the only reason you have it. Yeah, it's there already. It's a part of you. In other words, it's you want it. What we're saying is you want to become one with your mucker, with the mucker, the Eibishter, and nitzitz, which is in your yeah. That's it's one with you. It's higher than seichel, higher than time. You don't want to be separated from it. That's why we use this lashon Ava. Yeah, but you've been in there. They've like to be safe from yes, man. So tell I know mitzvah atzma nekis yayin shall take it. Mitzvahs are called yayin shall take it. Brachas mitzvahs are midrabot. Midrabot safe. And Lamaila, we're saying that the mitzvah. What are we? Are revelai divrei seifrim? Let's say the mitzvah fill in. It says the Torah. The bracha fill in. The chacham are masakin the bracha. So we're saying, yeah. So by the yin arei b'malai, we're going to see in 1 minute. Right, we'll see in a minute. Otherwise, it mean a lot. So
it's what we take upon ourselves.
Yeah, because the Beit Chaim they add one mitzvah. Ninshachis are pnimi. Amis labish b'seicha kel mamish. They have bracha shal mitzvah or mamshich der amak. Shulamayla b'chis are pnimi. Shalkach any yochol. It can't be the slabish in the kelim. So the mile of the bracha is you mamshich such a market which is higher than the kelim. Through the kima mitzvahs, you mamshich are pnimi, which is labish in the kelim. You bring the ratz of the Eibishter into this world. But the bracha brings down the makif, which can't be established in the case. And therefore we say, you say a bracha before or higher than them. And what's Ava means either higher, low, before, it means it's above them. Who in your makif, Ava is say. What is seicher? That's something which goes around and around. A seicher runs around and he tries to sell his things. So it's the lost seicher. A seicher runs around, goes around and around, trying to sell his things. So that's the of market. Eva seicher, Eva is shaykh the chis market. Just like there's a difference between the mitzvah and the bracha, lianam shachar. The same thing, we got with nefesh adam was behind the mitzvahs. The mitzvahs themselves are in your mitzvahs yayin. What's the puller that the mitzvahs has on the nefesh? It goes into pnimis and nefesh. The air which is nitzvah through the bracha is a makif on the nefesh. So in Yarei Malay Devei Seifrim, that's a pshat that says Yarei Malay Devei Seifrim. Don't say Li. What does I mean? That the shachar through the bracha is b'chinas makif. So a lie. That's what they are. Even a lie that we're bringing this sweetness not inside but around you. Therefore say because the mitzvahs themselves are there. We are the pnimi. And the sweetness of the revis, which is through the bracha, is midivrei seifrim. That's the makif, which is a reva malai. So he said the bracha of the mitzvah brings the makif on the person, and the mitzvah itself brings the pnimis. Peidish v'nilasha bracha. So what does it mean that we bring the bracha? The bracha brings the makif on the person. What's in your bracha? Bracha is amshach. The Rosh Makar of all the brachas, the Makar Chaim is higher than Shtalshalos. And the Isaiah says that Baruch is a Rosh Tevis, Rosh Makar Kol HaBrach. That's the Makar of all the Ashbaz. That's the Ein Seif. That's higher than Seder Shtalshalos. And what's in your bracha? We're Mamshech. That Indian that's higher than Seder Shtalshalos. And then Shech Bracha Mamshech Hazu, B'chinas Atem. What's Ata? Ata is Alma Diskaya. Ata is you say to you. So we say Baruch is Lashab Shaka, Bricha, Lashab Shaka. It says on the place, a Bricha like a stream that flows, the Lashab Shaka. So we're bringing down from the Makar, the Rosh Makar, all the brachas, to Ata to you. When you say Ata, we talk to the person directly, you say Ata. Which what? When you say Ata, it's as if you're saying we're big Gileal Kos, this is Ata you. And what do we want? Baruch Ata Havaya. Kalis that we wanted to bring it into Havaya Shu Ishtalos Yud is the Tzimtzum, the Hay is this Pashtus. The Vav is Amshach and Hay is the last Pashtus Malchus. Say Baruch Ata we bring from the Rosh Hashanah. We bring the Gilei from Almadis Gal. We bring the Gilei into Almadis Gal. And then when we say Abaya, that's the Indian, how it comes down into Almadis Gal. Those are the four levels, how it comes down into Stalshus. Yud is Tzimtzum. The first day is Pashtus. The Vav is Amshaka from the Midis. And the last day is Malchus is Pashtus. And in every hashpah, there has to be these four levels. There has to be the tzimtzum, the spashtus, coming down, and then till it comes down into the lower level. That's what's that pasuk. Berches Havaya Hitasher. Abraham it says Vahaya Brayei Bracha. The bracha is Havaya. The bracha is to bring down the air. It says V'yei bracha. So that is Eisus Havaya. So every bracha we have to bring down into the world. Eisus Havaya is how it comes down into the world. The either say Berches Havaya or V'yei bracha. It always has to be these Dal Eisus. Over there, it's mixed up. I don't know
Now
why.
you're going down? We need one more table.
That we say, therefore, we said so. We said Baruch from the Makkah bracha. So after how it comes, how it it's going to be in the scholar. Havaya, how it comes into the world, the 4 levels, and then we say Al Kedem Al Cha'ilam, that the Hashpah should come down in Al Cha'ilam. That's in Malchus Tatzilis, and that's the lowest level of Tzilis. After we have Havaya, we're mounted up the earth till Malchus Tatzilis to Al Cha'ilam. Since Malchus is the lowest level of Tzilis, and the market there, that's all that's Emach William. Therefore, we say Melch Ha'ilam.
And that's my spirit to be out.
Yeah. Good. So what do we say? We said that when a person is mamshech to the mitzvahs, say the stalshalis, the hamshacha comes in 4 shlach. Tzimtzum, hispashtus, the hamshacha, and hispashtus again. Till it comes into the lowest level of malchus tatzilis, and that's a yerida from madrega to madrega. But there's also a higher level which comes out without a tzimtzum. So Asher, now that's one level. Say Asher, Kedishanu, Asher is beginning to tiny galleon. But Asher can't say it be nice. Asher is lost in Shabbat that we're praising. Asher can't say that is why the women will be praised. So we see in every matzah of Tev and Einig, it's called Asher. So Asher is beginning tiny galleon. That's Atmas Abish to hide this. In order to what Bichdei, the Kachet of Bimitzay, so because the birth from the Tefillin, to begin this Mahotza, to birth when the person is Mamshechti of Asher and Tainig Elyon, he becomes holy with the mitzvah sov of the Abish himself. Now the mitzvahs are by the Abish himself. Now we see the Abish himself does the mitzvahs there because the birth from the Tefillin. So what are we saying? We're saying through the fact that the person does the mitzvah lamata, he's mamshech for that bechina of the mitzvah, how the mitzvah is by the Eibush. That's what we say Asher Kedishana b'mitzvah Yisov, that we're bringing down the kedusha of the Eibush to b'kveidah b'atzmai, and that kedusha is the Ephraim Abdullah, that the Eibush is higher than Elamites. We're bringing down the mitzvahs, how they are higher than they were. Still now we're speaking about when we say the bracha, how it comes down to Elomis. We're bringing down the mitzvahs, how they're higher than Elomis. Now the tiny Elyon, with the tiny of the Eibush, when the Eibush is behind the mitzvahs. So we have 2 bechinas every bracha. First, we mamshech the shefel lamata till melech Elam. Ba'acher, so we try and go to the level to be mamshech from there, from a higher level. What's in Yeratu? We want to go to the level that's higher than in the elements. Shave is how it comes down into and it comes down lamata. Yes, so same thing. To the mitzvah, that's the difference between the 2 parts of the bracha. Baruch atah vayel kedem vayelav, and that's the first part of the bracha. Asher kedushanim b'mitzvah, so the second part of the bracha. The first part of the bracha is shave. That's what that the air comes down from one madrega to another madrega. It comes down with the archeilabas. The second part of the bracha is the ratzei, that we want to go to the level that's higher than the elamis. That's the tiny galleon, the asher, the tiny kedushanim b'mitzvahs of how the mitzvahs are by the Eibush himself before they came down the mountain. We want to bring down the hamshacha, the hamshacha of the mitzvahs, how they are higher than how they came down in this elamis. Zeh shekasva Ashi ish yare es Hashem chilo kens rechik yare l'gesh halak kedesh mianechi. But outside the lane, there was a person is fearful of becoming there today. B'shtevach akafin says to come to create. Emes, even though he's not wrong, but if he wants the mitzvahs very much. The two shlabim kiyam mitzvahs, the shave and the rotzi. First, the person Yares Hashem says, "Who am I to come to such a high level of the mitzvahs? How they are by the Eibishter?" He feels how far he is from that high level. He can't come near them. Then he's not in that high level. Only in the Amshacha Yerida bringing it down into this world. But after that, the person Messiah with a Hergish, that Be'emes is not roll, even though he's not roll. Apple Cain, he wants the mitzvahs how they are by the Eibishter, the Mosei Atzmasi is firm. And that's the Rati. B'mitzvah Sov, he says, B'mitzvah Sov, he wants the mitzvahs like they are by the Eibishter. Not how they came down the mountain, how they like the Eibishter when they go. How they are the tiny Gelgian. Shetzarch Lias Ratzu V'Shev, Kol Amshacha Mamayel Tichali, say they mati v'lei mati. Every Amshacha is mati v'lei mati. Like you have the pulse goes back and forth. Tchila b'chines is talkus, showing you v'lei mati. V'achakach is pashus, is mati. And Tzarch Lias is a russo kaplikam, because Ratzu V'Shev. Amshacha of the Eidus is the same mati. First it reaches and then it doesn't reach. First, Leimati, the air goes up, and after that, it comes down. So every Amshacha, in order to bring Amshacha from Elmaila, has to be through a Susul Tata. First, has to be a Susul Tata for the front Amshacha. So the person has to be the Hergish on the Anechi. That's Leimati. First, he has to feel like he's not roll for that. And then, they could be zeicha to the spot that it should come down into him. Zawin Yarev, like the Seifrem, the Shadish of the Bechazal, Nimchach Mechina Sefer, hence Aye Sefer. That's what he said. That Rabbi the Sefer. He said that the Bracha brings down Amshacha, which is higher than the Iyam Makif. Why are we called the Chacham Sefer? That the Chazal Nimchach from the Iyam Sefer. Where's the Sefer? It's not possible. Shulamayad v'chinis yeina shel Teira. Shebiksav nikah Sefer. But the Teira, he said the mitzvahs themselves are called yeina shel Teira. Shebiksav itself called the Sefer. It says in Sefer Yitzirah that there's a Sefer, and a Sipper. Just like in the Moshe Gashi, the Sefer, he writes the Sefer. So the Sefer is higher than the Sefer, or to write the Sefer, because he's the mocker to write the Sefer. The same thing, Sefer, the Sefer Bruchnis, the Sefer is higher than the China Sefer. That's what we're saying. Aye Sefer, that Aye, where is it? Where is Mocker Kvaidi? That's the Sefer, higher. So we're saying that the Chachamim, the level that the Chacham brought down, is the Chacham called Sefer, because they bring down a level that's higher than the Teira, how it comes down Begol. The Teira Shebek called Sefer Teira. The Chachma Teira are called Sefer. There's Sefer that's higher than Sefer. And that's the Amshacha of the Inyanim Midivrei Seferim is higher than Amshacha through the Inyanim Midivrei Teira. We said before, the mitzvahs and the berachas ha-mitzvahs. The mitzvah itself comes down the makif and the elements. The berachas ha-mitzvahs brings down the makif that's higher than the elements. Why? Because the kayach of the chachamim have the kayach to bring down from a much higher level. Which is Barlael, like we said before, in the Maim before Teda, it says over there that Reches Niyav Sefer, that's higher than Sefer. Therefore, the mitzvahs are Midivrei Sefer, Amshacha, which is much higher. And the Kuz Hadvan, Amshacha, through the Ramach mitzvahs Teda, Amshacha, and the Ramach Evarim of the person. So the Kalim Amshacha, Shaykh is to the Ace above Kalim Shemavai. That's Sefer. The Bechinas of Sefer, that's Aye Sefer. That's our Ace is Aye, is Ace is Yud K, the Shemavai. The Ace Aleph is the Makam Ram. That's the Bechina Madrega that can't come down to Kalim. And that's the Ian that we bring down the mitzvahs, then we did Sefer, we bring down a much higher level than the mitzvahs which are in the Torah.
Oh yeah.
This is what it's like a city of words.
Yeah.
The Parsha. We take one mimer from here and they explain it. Press end stream on the bottom. You see the red thing? No, you have to.
No, it's on the WhatsApp.
Yeah, so you could.